You know, they think there have been 100 million copies of that book sold worldwide now. It's been published since 1937, more or less continuously. We don't know how many countries it's been published in. We don't know how many languages it's been translated into. We just know a whole lot of people have been buying and reading that book. About 1 million copies a year are being sold, a little bit more now that OG is involved in it. For that, the world thanks OG. The world thanks. Now, surely everyone here at this OG conference has read Think and Grow Rich a few times. And I'd like to find out exactly what you know. So we're going to do a little test. A friend of mine named Jeremy Rezer has devised a number of educational games to teach groups of people the philosophy of success, specifically these principles of success. He's got about 100 sites in Japan right now that are using one of his games to teach these principles. And I have taken one of his questions in this games, and I'm going to test you on it to see how well you know my grandfather's word. First question: when applying in life, which pair of Napoleon Hill's 17 principles of success below best supports the quote above? A, applied faith and accurate thinking. Don't tell me yet. B, going the extra mile and maintenance of sound health. C, applied faith and positive mental attitude. D, definite of purpose and personal initiative. Who thinks it's A? B? C? Now don't wait on your diamonds. C? D? And the answer is D. Definiteness of purpose and personal initiative. Now, Napoleon Hill believed that definiteness of purpose was the starting point for all success. Clement Stone, however, disagreed with him because he believed that a positive mental attitude was more important. Today, you're going to hear something a little bit different from me. I'm going to agree with both men, and I'm going to disagree with both men. Do not move me off the stage, please. A few weeks ago, I asked my son, David, which came first, the chicken or the egg? He's 10 tomorrow. Well, the egg, of course, he said. After all, chickens hatch from those eggs. Yes, but it took a chicken to lay that egg. My son paused for a second. He said, sure, Dad. I guess that old chicken had to come first. But you just told me that that chicken hatched from an egg, David. I ask you again, which came first, the chicken or the egg? My son frowned a little bit, frustrated. He yelled, Mom, Dad's doing it again. Now, for those believing in creation, there is no problem answering this question, since both the chicken and the egg and the potential for them were created in one at the will of God. And for those believing in evolution, again, there is no problem answering this question, since the chicken and the egg are both a process that is governed by infinite random probability. The difficulty with the chicken or the egg question is that the question itself is the problem, not the answer. Thus, the chicken and the egg question makes no sense. Neither can exist without the other. The chicken or the egg dilemma reminds me of that conflict between Napoleon Hill and Clement Stone. Napoleon Hill thought that a definite major purpose was the starting point for all success. Clement Stone believed that a positive mental attitude was more important, and if I ask the people behind me, they're going to argue about that. These two men argued, and they debated, and neither could sway the other to their own point of view. However, both men listed these two principles as the most important ones for success. But try as I may, my own experience did not agree with what each of these men believed so ardently. It is true that I employed both principles to achieve my little successes in life. However, for me, my success started with a decision to change my life somehow and in some way. I didn't have a definite major purpose, and I did not have a positive mental attitude at the time when I made that decision. They both came later. So which principle was really important for success, and why wasn't it true for me? That question troubled me for some time. Then one day, I thought of Napoleon Hill's most famous quotation, I think you've seen that before, haven't you? What the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. What the mind can conceive, isn't that the same thing as a definite major purpose? And believe, well, that's clearly the same thing. You can't believe anything without a positive mental attitude. And it can achieve, but no achievement is possible without action, and all action starts with a decision. A decision. So which comes first? Which is most important? A definite major purpose, a positive mental attitude, or a decision? As I thought about this, I realized that the question creates the same kind of problem as the chicken or the egg question. Success is a process consisting of principles, and these principles cannot be separated from one another any more than the chicken or the egg can. As we start to apply them, we will engage the others and start to apply them as well, whether we know it or not. This is how I now envision a starting point for success. I don't know, can you see that? Yes. If you look at the bottom of it, for me, I started with a decision. I created a goal for myself, and then I used that, apply the positive mental attitude to carry it out. That led me to success. But you could have gone the other way. You could start with a definite major purpose, I guess. How many of you know what that is? How many of you know what that was 20 years ago? You're very lucky if you did. I didn't. So you could go either way. Who knows which is right? Is it the chicken or is it the egg? What matters is that Napoleon Hill taught us to harness the mind's potential to take us to success. It does this by taking advantage of the conscious mind's ability to program the subconscious mind. And everyone in here knows how to do that because Jose Ordonez said what? Study the 6 steps in chapter 5. That's what he did. So I believe that a decision is paramount for any success. The tools are in each of us. We just need to learn how to use them. We need a guide. At OG 213 in Las Vegas last year, Larry, an OG distributor, recruited me to speak at one of his trade shows. Now Larry was a new distributor to Organo Gold, and he had made the decision to go all in about a month or so before he came to that convention. When Larry told me that there would be an OG presence at his trade show, I told him that I would be willing to give a second talk at the trade show if he could muster up an audience of 50 people or so. I pictured a small group of people in a breakout session. Well, Larry talked to his upline and got approval all the way up the line. I was told that Holton Bugs himself gave approval. Thanks, Holton. Anyway, we had our breakout session. About 350 people showed up at our little session. Larry's mentor was named Bodie. I won't give you his last name. Some of you know him, I'm sure. Yeah, Bodie. He acted as master of ceremonies, and earlier in the day, Bodie talked to me about Napoleon Hill and about OG. He told me that just 2 years earlier, he had been suffering from financial problems. He was almost ready to sign a contract to work a year in the silver mines. Now, this is a hard and dangerous way to dig yourself out of a financial hole. However, before Bodie signed a mining contract, he learned about Organo Gold. And a week later, he attended his first Napoleon Hill study session. Well, Bodie never went to the mines, and 2 years later, he and his wife were able to buy their first home. Now, Bodie's diamond is Rod Smith, professional football player. Some of you know him, too. Rod attended that session and gave a wonderful keynote. I had to follow the guy. He gave too good of a keynote. But anyway, he was there and he gave his great keynote. And near the end of his keynote, I saw Bodie in the back of the room, standing tall and very proud and monitoring everything that was going on. So I went over to him and told him that I thanked him for having such a great event and putting together such a good event with such short notice. And I said, Bodie, do you realize that all this started just 2 years ago when you made a decision? Bodie looked at me thoughtfully for a few seconds, and then he smiled. And he said, yes, a decision and a commitment. My wife and I made them together. A marriage has the greatest potential to create the strongest of all possible masterminds. The key, of course, is to find a way to work harmoniously and selflessly toward a common definite major purpose. Bodhi is a very lucky man. There are others here today who have made a decision and have committed themselves to that decision. Each of them has gone all in, and they're all sitting right here directly in front of me and in front of you. They are your diamonds. These men and women are truly diamonds, not just because of their status in OG and their rank. They are diamonds because they are starting to make a difference in the world outside of Organo Gold. Isn't it? Isn't it marvelous to know that they are now being noticed outside of Organo Gold? People are listening to them. Two of them recently caught the attention of Sharon Lecter, co-author of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Sharon quoted them in her long-awaited book, Think and Grow Rich for Women. They are Tarja Avant and Catalina Mello. Avant was quoted as reminding us men of something important. She said, it's not about you men, it's about that young woman who is watching you. She's absolutely right. But your kids are watching you as well, Dad. Sharon also quoted Carmelita Netto as saying, starting later or eventually is too late. There's no better time than the present to start. I agree with her. There is no better time than the present to make a decision to take action towards success. Success is a choice that starts with a decision to take action. When you find yourself waiting for something to happen and you're being pulled this way and that way by forces you cannot control, you are drifting through life. To stop drifting, you must make a decision. And to stop drifting, you must act upon that decision. OG is providing you with a path to success. Napoleon Hill is providing you with a guide. But no path to success can start without your decision to walk it. I say again, no path to success can start without your decision to walk it. Ask yourself, what are you waiting for? Why are you waiting? Are you going to use OG as a pathway to success? If not OG, then what? And if not now, then when? Today is the day. Quoting Carmelita again, there is no better time than the present. I thank you.